Three Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, though? It is another Tuesday, and it is fight week. So, we had to bring you one of the participants from the fights that are going down this Friday, Fox Theater, Detroit, Michigan. I don't think I've ever been to a fight at the Fox. I've been to concerts at the Fox. I've been to Sesame Street Live at the Fox. I had never been to fights at the Fox. Yeah, man. What the fuck you know about that shit? But we've got a debut tonight on the show. We've got Savannah Tini before she steps in the ring on Friday. We appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And Savannah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Now I got it. Right, get it. I bet you get that all the time, don't you?
I do. That's why I just correct it right off the bat as soon as
I appreciate you. See, they do that with my last name all the time because it looks like Collision, except unfortunately for me, my dumbass picked boxing and jiu-jitsu and MMA as a sport, so then it kind of just stuck.
Look, I don't even use my real name just for those purposes. So
shut the fuck up, man. J-Bone's close enough. Corey has joined the show as well.
You can't get my name wrong if you don't know it.
Well, I mean, yours is pretty self-explanatory. Corey, how you doing? We're getting everybody caught up to speed. We're going to talk about her fight this Friday at the Fox. But, as good a place to any is to start. I was talking to you in the DM before we got everything all situated for everything. One of my favorite things to do when we do this show is kind of figure out, what people's path was to boxing, MMA, whatever combat sports we happen to be talking about on the given day, especially when it comes to the ladies. We just had Caroline Vare on here. We had our friend Sammy Worthington through here as well. So tell me, how, especially with it being 2025, how did you find your way to the boxing ring instead of maybe MMA, which seems to be the sport everybody's going to?
Yeah, I always started by saying, I don't have a cool story, but the more I think about it and the uniqueness kind of mine is that I had no strong pull to boxing in the beginning. I didn't have anybody in my family. It's not like I grew up watching it. I didn't grow up around the sport, but one of my friends that I grew up going to high school with, he boxed and he always begged me to go to the gym with him. But I was always playing soccer and use it as my excuse. And then my senior year, I stopped playing and he was like, all right, you ran out of excuses. Now come. And I was like, all right, I'll try one class and then never ask me again. Don't even think about it. And then I tried one class. And after that first day in the gym, one thing led to another. And just a few months later, I signed myself up for my first fight. And I actually lost that fight. But it lit a fire in me that I never knew I had. And from that moment forward, I knew it was all or nothing. I was going to go all the way with it. And now here I am today.
So I got to know. So that's another thing that's always funny in these type of things. I've told the story about my first fight, how it happened to be in the middle of Detroit, out in the middle of the summer next to a gay strip club. And so you got to tell me what was the experience with the first fight like? What was it that kind of gave you the bug to say, no, not only do I want to train, but what made you turn the corner to want to fight?
Yeah. Well, first, the competitiveness in me, I actually gassed out my first fight. So it wasn't even the fact that I knew she beat me. I was just I lost because of my own doing. And I first think it was just the competitiveness of all right, I'm going to take another fight and I'm going to get better and get better. And then it just became an addiction of wanting to continue to improve. But then I think just in general, I didn't see a lot of girls when I first started. And I think that was another thing that really enticed me. I was all right, it took me so long to get my first fight. We had to go up and down different weight classes, figure out if we were going to be able to fight local or not. And I felt I wanted to be somebody locally that was at least coming up in the scene of okay, now girls are going to be at each event. And whether it's just me, myself, and I, and one other girl, that's the start of at least women's boxing in Detroit.
I like it. I like that, especially, and that's one thing that's been cool. I've been around. I took my first fight when I was 13. So I've been around this stuff for 20 years now. And to see the way that it's, progressed over time. You're right. When I first started boxing, you didn't see as many females fighting and stuff like that. So, now that you've kind of engrossed yourself in the sport, obviously a professional, now as you get ready to step back into the ring and all those things, was there anybody that kind of jumped out to you once you started getting a little bit deeper into boxing that you said, okay, I like this chick, I like the way she fights? Was there anybody that was kind of influences maybe either on the way you fight or just somebody to say, I want to do like she's doing?
I'd say at first I wasn't even thinking that deeply into it, because even then, like, female professional boxers still weren't getting the recognition when I first started. It wasn't like in the news, and it wasn't big like on Instagram or anything like that. Some of the pioneer names was like obviously Shields. You knew her early on. And then some of like the old pioneers like the Alis and them. Knowing that there was female boxing was more so like my focus. Like, okay, there are some of them. Like, I can make this happen. I don't think it was like anyone particularly in the start. I remember Mare, I started seeing her and Terry Harper even in the beginning too. They weren't like what they were now, but I remember just like I would find them on Instagram and be like, oh my God, okay, like I can be here. So I think it was just in general like seeing certain people, but it wasn't like really one person that I stuck to in the beginning.
I know Kyle had mentioned the past couple of guests we had on in the boxing realm of, women's boxing, but it seems like a reoccurring theme of having this conversation where a lot of you lucky ladies seem to be getting in this sport right at the peak time. It seems like, with all the, like you were kind of referring to, with all the social media attention and just all the huge fights that are getting put on, headlining Madison Square Garden with, all women's cards and stuff like that. You weren't seeing this type of stuff growing up. I know I wasn't. And to see that type of level of interest in women's boxing, and to see the fulfillment of the sport up to this level, it's got to be super exciting for somebody like you.
Yeah, and it's what's even better about it. It's like it's not just the rise about bigger audiences, but it's the shift in respect and opportunity and visibility that we're getting. That it's not just like, okay, like a girl is fighting, like they don't care to watch it. Like, it's getting talked about if there's a girl on that card. And now women are obviously like headlining cards entirely, which is awesome. So not even just like the focus on it, but all of that combined is just a feeling I can't even describe now.
Not to mention, some of these women's fights are way more entertaining than the men's fights.
The women get in there and scrap.
Women get in there and brawl,
what you're talking about.
You know what I mean?
From start to finish, it's a show.
It is a brawl sometimes. We've seen it. So shout out to you ladies.
Well, so you mentioned one of the things that I wanted to bring up. One thing, like we've talked about, those that have been following us for a while, and it looks like we got about 340 of you guys in here. Make sure you guys like it, retweet the thing, share it, subscribe, all those things. You know the deal. But we've gotten to cover the last 4 Claressa Shields fights, and kind of as to what Corey alluded to, right now I would argue that women's boxing in particular is kind of at the highest point it's been at. When you look at what we just saw with Taylor and Serrano on Netflix, and then like you mentioned with Claressa Shields and what she's had going on, how does that make you feel as an up and coming pro? Does that like give you more energy that you're seeing women get more opportunity like that? Or, because like getting to be around that, like you said, you met Shields early on in her career. But I mean, like I said, I've been around boxing a long time, and you didn't hear people talk about it the way you're hearing people talk about it now, much less to have like what we saw with Taylor and Serrano, where they're headlining a card on Netflix that did millions of views.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'd say like the word is just, it's inspiring. Even for myself, like as a fighter, it's still inspiring to see women like getting to that point. Something I also always like to say whenever I get asked about like women's boxing on the rise is, for me, it's not women versus men or our counterparts. It's the fact that we're not going to have to continue that we improve, I guess, that we belong here. It's more that we're just equal, and it's amazing to see that support we get from our male counterparts as well in the sport. So I think just like rising to the top together as a whole is awesome to see.
Yeah, to be able to
we get on here,
Zach again.
Every time it was National Carrot Cake Day. Now it's National Banana Bread Day.
I am praising you, Zach, for that, because every time it's always off the wall. Something random.
I mean, awesome. Banana bread's pretty good.
I love banana
bread.
I love banana bread, bro.
So are you eating banana bread outside of training camp is the question.
Oh, banana bread slaps. Absolutely.
Love some banana bread.
She knows. Yeah. We'll get into that a little bit more.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Before we go any further, Corey, first of all, we got to get on Kyle for this. Let's address the elephant in the room. What's up with your hat, bro?
Look here, dude. It went with what I was wearing. Okay.
The Tigers are in a clutch game tonight. If we win 3 straight tonight, we win the pennant or whatever. We're going to playoffs, baby. We're going to win the division.
You already know what it is. It's
you can't
Chicago
be wearing that on
here.
the air.
I just like the hat. Come on, dude.
They're going to censor us. Anyway, back to business. Sorry.
If they haven't censored us by now, then they're not going.
That's true. You got a lip on you, bro. That's for sure.
Me?
Hell yeah.
Me? Okay.
Fuck yeah.
But that leads into what I was going to ask you next. One of the things that stuck out talking to you prior to the show was your motivation that you said for wanting to fight and things like that. What now that you've entered the pro ranks and things like that, what's the mark that you're trying to leave on boxing? So
the mark, I guess my purpose with boxing and the mark that I want to leave on boxing are like 2 different things for me, I guess. My mark that I want to leave is obviously like a legacy behind. It's not so much for me like always a perfect record. Don't really care about that. I just want to be remembered for being a really exciting fighter and people just remembering that no matter what fight it was, whether it was my second or it was my 25th, that people remember and continue to talk about them. Obviously any fighter, I think it's undisputed, maybe a couple weight classes, especially seeing what Crawford just did, that awesomeness, and people will talk about that forever. So I think there's a lot of goals that I want to like leave. But the biggest one is the fact that I haven't lost, and that's not a goal, but just seeing how some fighters do take that and it ruins their career entirely. I just want to be, I'd say, a pioneer for not being afraid of taking tough fights. Like, take them as early as you want in your career and prove to everybody like why you're doing it. And it's because you want to be remembered as a great fighter.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one thing I kind of find so interesting. I have more of the MMA side of the combat sphere, I guess, in my knowledge. And as it's kind of widely known, a loss isn't such a big deal in the MMA, side of it.
Yep.
Where boxing, like you were just saying, it's almost like this constant factor brought up with boxers of whether or not they have an undefeated record. Oh, they had a loss, but it's 10 years ago, so it doesn't even matter. It's like this constant conversation, even if somebody only has 1 or 2 losses throughout a historical career. And
it's really weird. It's like
isn't it?
It's so specific to boxing. I think it's obviously like the Floyd Mayweather, the perfect records like that. But
Yeah.
I think the boxers that are coming up now, we're like slowly seeing that mentality kind of change, and it's awesome.
Well, I also think it's because boxing is such a historical sport. It's been around for hundreds of years. It's, Olympics, all this, that, and the other. I think there's also like this different era with it in that type of regard, where like MMA, it's kind of, it's killers versus killers constantly, like who's number 1 versus number 4. All right, match them up to see who's going to fight the champ, and so on and so forth. Where I feel like boxing, it's just this like trudge, like you say, to kind of maintain that record. And then you finally get to a spot where you're, even though you haven't necessarily fought anybody yet, you're respected enough to maybe earn a shot to then be the next in line to, and it's just, it's such a weird deflecting game to try to maintain that record. And it's so weird to me. Even like you were saying, I've heard many boxers even, bring up that fact. And it's such an odd thing to me.
Yeah, very, very much. So fingers crossed it keeps moving in the right direction away from that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's something that, we've talked about with past guests of the show, and one of my old training partners, Miles Jury, who was ranked, in the top 10 at 55 and 45 in the UFC. And he talked about that a lot, in that in MMA, you can have 15, 20 fights, but who did you fight? Where boxing, on the other hand, like in MMA, to get yourself kind of up there, yeah, you can have a bunch of knockouts, but if you fought a bunch of tomato cans, then that's not going to really do you, a lot to get seen by, a Dana White, a UFC, that kind of thing. Or what's going to happen is then you get to the Contender Series and they put you in there with another guy who's on the cusp of that. And then we find out how good you really are. Where boxing, to your guys' point, it's like as soon as you kind of lose that unbeaten record, it's almost like this mystique thing almost of like, oh, they lost their undefeated record. Oh, shit. they can't be, they can't be
Yep,
good
they're
now.
done.
Man. Like,
it's almost just like it's just an entertaining fact. It's entertainment factor because in MMA we see it all the time. The guy will lose his belt, lose his next fight, but then he'll win a fight and get another title shot. Whereas you see 2 or 3 losses, it's like no big deal, number 1 contender. But you're right, you see that on a boxing record. It almost diminishes like the value of a main event coming from an outsider's perspective.
Agreed.
And
Corey.
I was just going to say, it's also, I think a lot of it's been noted before, but I think a lot of it also has to deal with pocketbooks too, right? People are constantly chasing the biggest check that they can get. And if they don't have that no more, then they're like kind of casted aside, or they're fed to the next guy that they think may be able to maintain that and it's like this constant, or you're lucky and you end up like Canelo, where he now yet again through a historic career only has a couple losses, but is still able to maintain that level of stardom even with a couple.
Yeah.
Well, we brought up Canelo and Crawford a couple times now, so ladies first. What'd you think of Canelo and Crawford, and who did you have going into it?
I was rooting for whoever showed up as the best, like the better fighter that night, just because I respect the competitiveness between them. However, I did believe that if it went the distance, I thought Crawford would edge it out. If it would have got like a stoppage, I was obviously rooting for Canelo for that. But I thought if it went to the scorecards, just because of Crawford's footwork and his pace and his angles, I figured he was going to pull it off. How about all of you?
See, now I'll
That's
eat
a
crow.
pro answer right there.
It's a great answer too, because I'll eat crow. I'll be honest. I said it here on the show, and I have to give all respect due to Bud Crawford. Shout out to our guy, Andreas Hale. He just said that he thinks he wrote an article for ESPN saying that he believes that Terrence Crawford could be the best guy of this generation. And after what we just saw against Canelo, that's really hard to argue, because I'll be honest, going into that fight, my whole thing with that is I said on the show that I thought that Crawford was the better boxer, but I just thought that the experience and the size difference for Canelo, because Canelo knows how to use his body and wear somebody out through the fight. And as you mentioned, the later it goes into those fights, the body shots of Canelo, the power of Canelo, all those things I thought would be factors. Realistically, Bud not only outboxed Crawford, he had the cleaner shots throughout the whole fight. There were multiple times where he made Canelo miss and just caught him off his block. And I got to give all the credit in the world. I mean, he's now 41-0. And here's the crazier thing about it. Corey, you talked about how many fights Canelo has, but shit, Crawford's older than Canelo.
Yeah. You just in boxing years, or at least in like the general attention of boxing years, it definitely seems like Canelo's the older one. But to your point,
he's got almost 70 fights. Shit.
Yeah,
which is crazy. That's crazy.
But
to your point, what we were talking about with the records, to be 66-3 with 2 draws, and 2 out of the 3 people you lost to were widely considered to be, maybe the best fighter of all time. You lost to Floyd Mayweather when you were super young in your career, and then you lose now to Terrence Crawford. Neither one of those are losses that anybody can really, shake a stick at or, say anything about. But if anything, like I said, again, I give all the credit in the world to Bud, because now, and give credit to Canelo as well, because Canelo even said after the fight, he was like, look, man, he was the better fighter tonight, period. Not an excuse, not he beat me because I had an off night. Oh, he beat me because, I had this, that, the third, or whatever. He just said straight up, he was the better fighter. And he even said that he thinks that Bud could have been better than Mayweather. Now, that's a fight. If we could go back, I would have loved to see that shit in the prime. That'd be a hell of a fight.
What's next for Canelo now?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. You got any thoughts on that, Savannah?
Honestly, I actually, we were just talking about that today, and I would be really curious on who. I think he has 2 fights left with Turkey, or like Saudi is what they just came out and said. So that's at least 2 more fights with him. So I'd be really curious, like what his last 2 are.
What up to my guy Keith, man? Happy birthday. Did you do anything good for the birthday?
Oh, me?
Yeah, he's saying happy
Sorry.
birthday to you in the comments.
I thought you were saying it was Keith's birthday too. I was like, shut up. I did
No,
not say happy
no.
birthday.
He was wishing you a happy birthday. I'm just saying, did we get into anything good for the birthday, or is it too deep into camp?
It's too deep into camp, but we still celebrated. I think after that win, come Friday, we'll be celebrating a bit more. But it's just a sacrifice of the sport.
What kind of cake are we eating?
Carrot cake.
Carrot cake,
Carrot,
dude.
see?
Yes.
Where's he at? Zach, see, she's right up your alley.
Man.
Last week he was telling us it was National Carrot Cake Day. So go get you some
And we're sitting here
carrot
telling
cake.
them how it's our favorite. And then you say carrot cake. Look at that.
And then
That's what I'm
Alex
talking
said that really was his favorite cake, asking his lady for some carrot cake
Yep.
after we got done with the interview. We'll have to, if you win, we got to get you a piece of carrot cake when I come
Oh,
over.
I love that.
Well, speaking of that, you got to tell me, you're getting to fight at the legendary Fox Theater. I mean, anybody that's from Detroit knows about the Fox Theater. It's a staple of not only Detroit, but Michigan as a whole. Talk to me about getting to fight on a card like this in such a historic building and do it in your home state. What are your thoughts with that?
Yeah, first, obviously, it's legendary, as you just said. To be able to compete there and in my own backyard, it really is an honor just because boxing hasn't been there in so long. So it's not even just another fight at this point. It's kind of beyond that just because of where it is. And it's about representing Michigan and making a statement. And nights like this is really what reminds me of like why I fight, and it's to put on a show that people won't forget. It's been a year, I think almost just over a year since I fought back here. My last 2 fights were on the road. So it feels beyond amazing. Can't even describe how excited I am to be back. But I think it's just everything is aligned perfectly and in God's timing. So it's awesome.
Dude, that's awesome. He goes, I'm just making sure everybody says her name right. No, she already got us, and I appreciate it.
We had to get that out of the way early.
Keith always correct everybody. In the amateurs, he made sure people said my name correctly. He made a really funny meme when somebody said it wrong when I was on the road. So I always appreciate it. Shout out Keith for
Need
that.
people like that in your
Hell
corner.
yeah! Shout out to Keith. I met him.
It's like Kyle needs us to tell him to change his baseball cap.
Look here, my baseball.
Are we winning,
cap
Corey? You got the score up, by the way. It's important.
No, I do not actually. Matter of fact,
Corey's always slipping on the damn job, man. We got Monday Night Football next week, man. We're going to be having to talk about the Lions here over there. But talking about the fight at the Fox, talk to me a little bit about your opponent, Mikhail Noga. I think that's how you say it. I don't know if I said it right.
Yeah.
But I was doing my research into that, and like we talked about, you still got your 5-0 record as you go in here, and I would assume a little bit of a step up an opponent. And how are you feeling about the matchup? Is there anything that sticks out to you about her, or is it another day in the office?
I expect her to definitely be tough and to be ready. She favors a couple punches for sure, and we've prepared for that. She's never been stopped though, so I'll give her that. She's durable in some of her past fights, and she's faced a lot of prospects like myself, so she didn't always etch out the win. But I'll give it to her that they've always won the distance. With that, she's obviously never fought somebody like me, so we'll see what that happens to her record in regards to lasting all of her fights come Friday. But I guess just really when that bell rings, I know in my heart that my skill and preparation are going to show the difference between both of us. So no matter really how hard she's prepared, it's not going to compare to me in my last camp. But either way, it's going to be a good fight. I expect definitely some fireworks between the two of us.
She said she ain't seen one like her in the ring. Make sure if you guys are in Detroit, you got to come out this Friday, Fox Theater. Make sure you check out some boxing. We got heavyweights in the main event and all that good stuff. Says we got about 475 people in here right now. Make sure you guys hit that retweet button, subscribe button, all the buttons, the like buttons. Make sure you're following Miss Tini over here as well. But with that being said, how much are you somebody who does a lot of tape study at all for your fights?
A bit. We definitely aren't like one of those ones that are like very obsessive over it and like prep and change our camp entirely based upon who I'm fighting, because then I'm just changing like where I'm good and where I excel based upon who I'm fighting. And I feel like that's just not how me and my coach, Bobby Curtis, really work. And we've had success this far, so I don't foresee us changing. We definitely will try to watch some film just to see what we're going in against, so it's not like blind. And maybe pinpoint a couple like opportunities from them and just add them to our camp, but definitely like not changing the wheelhouse entirely.
I find it interesting talking to so many fighters through the show. Everybody's mentality on film study. I mean, like you were just saying, that's kind of a common theme is people don't want to change their own mentality going into the fights. They want to know kind of the P's and the Q's of what they need to watch out for, and maybe, like you said, some holes and some weaknesses. But it almost seems like people rely on their coaches more to do the film study and relay, actual accurate and informative information to you instead of just watching people fight. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, he's definitely, if we ask him if he's in the room watching right now, he could probably say how many times he'd watch it. Would be insane for fights, but I say the same for myself.
Shout out to Bobby Curtis. I seen him on IG saying he was going to be checking us out, so I'm sure he's watching somewhere. But, we ask this to a lot of the female fighters that we have come on, especially because we cover not only MMA, but bare knuckle and everything else. What are your thoughts on the 2-minute rounds for women in boxing? Would you, do you like and I ask that because some women say that they like the 2-minute rounds because it makes there have to be action. Other people say that they would rather it be the 3-minute rounds, not only because it's the same as the men, but it gives you more time to work. For you, do you like the 2-minute rounds? Would you rather them be 3-minute rounds?
So either way, really, I would push for the quality of it because in the amateurs, that's what women fight. It's 3-3s, so it's no different as a guy. So I don't understand that. I just would love a clear answer of like why in the amateurs are girls and guys the same, but then when we go to the pros, we're getting treated differently. It just like doesn't make sense in my head in that.
I agree.
So in theory, it'd be nice just because then there's no excuse for why we're treated differently. But we're already obviously like that's a whole different topic in itself. But I would be curious how it would change. That's my only thing. Because like the 2 minutes, I feel like a big part of why women's boxing is so go, 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 go is because we don't have that extra minute. The reason I would like that extra minute, though, is because not only would it slow down the pace a little bit, but I think the excuse of people saying, well, there's not as many knockouts in women's boxing, like that would go away. Like that would definitely get thrown out the door. You're telling me with 1 extra minute in each round, like you're not going to see the knockouts increase. 100% you will, because that's when people are getting tired, lethargic. That's when openings obviously start showing. So because of that and just disputing that entire claim from people, I would love that purely because of it. But either way, like I'd be fine with 2 minutes. I'd be fine with 3 minutes. If we get to the 3, I would love it just because I think stylistically it would help me definitely. But I'm obviously happy with either way.
I like that answer because that's something that I got to talk to Clarissa Shields about a couple times, whether it be in press conferences or when she was on the show. And she said herself that she thinks that if she had an extra minute, that she would definitely have had more finishes than she's had in her career, because she said a lot of times she felt like right when she was kind of getting in her groove, starting to get working and things like that, then that's when you're running out of time at the end of the round. And having been at the last few fights, I mean, obviously she did her thing against Johannes and stuff like that, but like I could definitely think of a few fights where if there were more time like that, plus, especially like with somebody like her who also fought MMA, then that's got to be a whole nother animal when you go fight in MMA. And now not only are you fighting 2 minutes, now you got to fight 5 minutes, 5-minute rounds. So I definitely agree with you. I think that that's something that I think personally, I think it would create more finishes in women's boxing, therefore making more people want to watch it. Like I definitely would be of the same thing like you. I just think let's keep it at 100 at this point. You know what? You guys are fighting like everybody else. 3-minute rounds. Let's get it. That's what it is for boxing. I've been saying that for years. I would love to see that happen. But we've talked about your fight. We've talked about, how you got to boxing, what your purpose is, and why you want to box and being an inspiration for people. But let's talk a little bit about outside of boxing. When you ain't training, you're not in camp, things like that. What are we doing? You can't be boxing all the time.
I feel like I am.
I like that answer. See?
I'd say like a big passion of mine, like where we spend time out of it when I do have time, which is very little, is I love helping abused and abandoned dogs, which is a really big problem in Detroit. One rescue I hold dear to my heart is Rebels Dogs Detroit. They do a lot of community outreach, and that's something I strongly encourage everybody watching today to look into, ways that you can help. So whether it's donating money, supplies, or time, there's really no excuse that you can't be able to help. And beyond that, it's even helping foster. That's something that me and my husband do, whether he likes it or not. Sometimes we'll have surprise dogs when he walks in the door, and he's like, "What is this dog doing here?" So there's a ton of ways you can help, but the big problem really is too often than not, people think that somebody else would do it. Somebody else will step up. Somebody else is going to help this animal. But the truth is, it's on you, and it's on me, and it's on everybody else, that each of us have the power to make a difference. So whether it's donating, volunteering, fostering, or adopting, every small action really matters. And when you step up, you are the one that's saving that dog's life, and you're giving hope to the voiceless, who really can't speak for themselves. So with that long-winded answer, I'd say it's just really spending as much time as I can just giving back to the community when I do have the time.
The dog thing's awesome. As somebody who is on the road all the time in the greater streets of Detroit, there's definitely I don't even want to say a wild dog issue, because like you say, it almost seems to be just an abandoned dog issue more so, where it's like you can tell the dog was perfectly healthy, everything's fine, but for whatever reason, maybe somebody got sick of them or whatever the case, and now all of a sudden this dog's just got on the streets trying to fend for itself. And
you hear wild excuses too. Like the stuff you hear, it's just insane. And it makes you almost want to lose hope in humanity sometimes. But then you hear the stories of the people that are helping them, showing these dogs how to be loved again. And it kind of gives you that sliver of hope that you almost lost.
I totally feel that. Like Corey said, I've been a dog person my whole life. I had 3 of them. I got 2 of them right now. We always have, we've always had dogs in my family one way or the other. My sister, is the same way, even with her family now. So I 100% agree with that. And I think people who are abandoning dogs and stuff like that, I mean, you hear more and more about how there's like more consequences for that stuff. But I mean, dude,
thank God, slowly,
but, and that's what I was going to say, slowly but surely. But it's one of those things you would just think, like, sometimes I just feel like, people they forget, okay, so a dog's your pet, but dude, like, think about that if that were like a kid or something like that. Like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You could just leave them out on the side of the road. Look, man, my dogs piss me off, especially the little one that still, after being 11 years old, still doesn't seem to remember that you're supposed to go outside to go to the bathroom. But that's
not in your studio, right?
Oh, that we've had this conversation. How many times have I gotten ready to walk into the studio?
We've had this conversation live before.
I go to walk in the room to do the damn show, and at the foot of my door, the damn dog pissed right at the door foot. Or I go to sit down in my recliner, and you just did it right in front of my recliner. It's like, tell me that shit wasn't on purpose. And then when I say something, then she just takes off like, oh, I don't know what the fuck happened. You know what I mean? But I still could never see myself, like being cruel to a dog or, getting rid of your dog. I've never understood that. Like, if you didn't want the dog
that bad,
special
kind of sicko to do shit like that.
Yeah,
that part. That's what I was getting at. See, I get pissed off at my dog every other day, but I would never.
I see things like this too on the radio show I do. We work with Detroit Dog Rescue, and it's just you see a bunch of the stuff that's just ridiculous. But like you said, there's a lot of other stuff that makes you really happy about it, and keep your faith in humanity. That's all I can say, because there are people working hard to keep that, so we just got to look at it that way. Think of the positive. Man,
look at you trying to, just keep the
positive. Look at me spitting the free game out here, man. Just trying to keep it right for the folks out
over
there.
Here. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I can be a therapist. You might be drunk by the end,
I could be a therapist. What the fuck?
You may be a little buzzed by the end of our talk, but hey, it works.
Oh yeah, man. Well, like I said, we also want to get into some of the stuff outside of boxing, and we also cover the pro wrestling side of things. Did you ever get down with pro wrestling at all? Have you ever, with all that stuff on TV, ever watched it all or watched any of that kind of stuff?
I did not, like at all. I think when I was younger, my dad would have us like watch WWE sometimes. He'd have that on. We went to like a couple events with him and it was cool. But beyond that, really not much.
Always got to see if it goes. Well, one of the things that we ask a lot of the wrestlers, which if you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and shout out to last week's guest, one half of your GCW tag champs, who they just had the big show down there at Harpo's. I guess Alec maybe should have been more worried about the tag division than he told us he was, because they lost their belts to the Clowns in the damn Riddle Box match on Friday, but that's a story for another time. One of the segments we have with the wrestlers is something that I call locker room etiquette. Normally, with the name of that, you would think that we're poking, picking, and prodding, trying to get people to tell us shit they shouldn't be or shit on somebody or something like that. But we go the complete opposite. We go either, what are some of your pet peeves of the locker room? What is something you would give advice to somebody who's new? I'll give you some of the examples we've gotten, and I'll show you how we turn that into for fighters as well. We've gotten everything from bring your own wrist tape, bring your own squirt bottle, keep your baby mama out the locker room, keep the don't just make sure you shake hands with everybody, make sure that you don't act like
the one that's always
that one, and staying in the ring
and
gear. I mean, you would think that would be a prerequisite, but not always. So with the fighters, we always switch this to another way. So when it comes to fight week, do we have any like fight week superstitions? Is there like a certain kind of Pedialyte you got to drink when you're done with your weigh-in, or is it a certain kind of like food you got to eat after weigh-ins? Is there like a certain craving? Is there anything that during fight week, if somebody does, just fucking grind your gears?
Well, one, I personally don't believe in superstitions. Like, I don't think it's like, I have to drink this Pedialyte or else I'm going to lose. Like, nothing like crazy like that. I'm pretty like easy fight week, even when I'm cutting weight or whatever it might be. The only thing that like grinds my gear is when like somebody knows it's fight week and they ask me to do something. It's like that's the last thing that I want to do is to go out to eat with you. I don't want to hang out with you like that. I don't care who you are, even if you're my family, they all know this. I just don't want to do anything that week. So anyone that asks me that, I actually don't even respond to their text sometimes because like it's known, they should know this by now, given how long I've been fighting and how many fight weeks that I've had. A consistent for me though is I don't know what it is. Every time I'm done weighing in, whether I've cut weight or not, I like need fruit. Like my coaches know it. My husband knows it. Like I want fruit ASAP. I don't want to talk to anyone until I get fruit. And then usually am refueling with Mexican. That's just like more so habit rather than like thinking I need it or else I'm going to lose or anything like that. But those are really the two that kind of
What kind of fruit?
Fruit, what kind?
Yeah.
Specifically like pineapple, just because it's so like hydrating.
I love pineapple. Let's go.
Pineapple, oranges, also just because it's so refreshing. And then grapes. Like those are you will see me probably after weigh-ins, like walking around with that.
That's what I'm talking about. Does pineapple go on pizza?
It can. Yes, I think it can.
Whoa,
That's the answer I like to hear, damn it. Shout out to Dave LaGreca from Busted Open and Sirius XM, but I used to be a pineapple doesn't go on pizza guy, but damn it, I've been converted. Pineapple can go on pizza.
How dare you ask that? You're like drawing battle lines here, bro.
I asked the question, people.
That's like
why do you think there's 528 people watching right now? Make sure you like this.
You're just out here trying to divide us. That's what you're doing.
No, scared to answer it. I don't know if you guys are all going to go off on me for saying it or not.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah. Watch everybody.
How can I go off? Watching. I like me some pineapple. It's all right.
Everybody's going to stop watching the stream now because they don't like pineapples on their pizza.
You're just a stick in
Thanks
the
a lot,
you gotta
Kyle.
Live a little, J-Bone.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I don't like that.
you gotta live a little, bro.
I'll be honest with you. I know. I gotta get out.
You gotta live a little, bro. Well, like I said, I am looking forward to getting at it this Friday and getting down to the Fox and seeing these fights. Shout out to Chris de Blasio, Dimitri Salita Promotions. I will be down there in the press conference as well. For anybody that's on the fence, why do they need to come out to this fight this Friday? What can we expect? Where can they get tickets? All those kind of things. I will leave the floor to you.
Yeah, easy one, where to get tickets. in my link in my bio on Instagram, which is just literally first name, last name, Savannah, not Savannah, Tini. And it will be the first
Don't
link.
fuck it up like I did.
Or you'll get corrected if I hear it. It will be Tini for the code. And then you can go in and purchase. I appreciate the support. It means a lot to us fighters to get that support, especially from tickets, and just show our appreciation as well to Salinas Promotions and 313 Presents as well. Why you should come is, I'm not even going to just say just because of me. I think the card as a whole is just going to be nonstop amazing, from that first fight with Jasmine Hampton, which is another fighter I grew up in the amateurs with, to Kamel Macklett, another one of my stable mates. He is always leaving an interesting fight, and his stoppage records is amazing. And then I think just from on really there, it's just going to be from the start of the night to the end amazing. I think for me, myself, I'm coming to dominate the moment. So whether it's going to be 1 round or 6 rounds, I'll ensure just with my fight alone that you'll get your money's worth. And I think just really leaving it on that note should make you want to get a ticket alone.
That's what I like to hear. She said you need to fuck around and find out. We got some fights this Friday. I've heard plenty about Jasmine as well. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Like I said, it's always a good time to see some fights in the city. And then if I'm not doing WWE this weekend, Corey and I got to call some fights on Saturday. I almost said lights out. Damn it. It's Legends of Combat now. They changed the name on us. But Legends of Combat is coming back at you this Saturday, September 20th. We got our guy Abe Al-Sagir is making his way back to the Legends of Combat cage. I don't think you're going to see him be fighting around here too much longer. I think he might be on a Contender Series fight soon enough. And then if you guys seen any of the announcements, shout out to our guy Matt Friendo. Is October 20th in Muskegon. Brett Big Dog Martin is coming back to the cage. Mondo Gutierrez, fresh out of PFL, will be coming back to the Legends of Combat cage and recently released from the UFC. It is the return of the Spartan. Cody Stamen is making his way back to Legends of Combat. Gonna be stepping inside that cage October 20th. Make sure you guys are there. We're going to be at the Trinity Health Arena out there in Muskegon, Michigan. If you guys aren't there live, make sure you check it out on Spectation Sports. And you already heard the lady. You got to check us out this Friday. She's going to be laying somebody out. I'm just glad it ain't me. So until next time, and in the in-between time, make sure you hit that damn subscribe button, the share button, the like button, all the buttons, and make sure you're in the city this Friday. Make sure you're there, or you might blink and miss something. Until next time, and in the in-between time, hit that button. Peace.